the hell does this thing do? Hey everyone, so I'm back with some more pickups, and I got a lot of crap here, so let's get to it. First up, okay, I don't even know why I bought this thing. I suppose the only reason I can think of was basically just to see what this is like, to experience this item for myself, because I've seen plenty of videos online about it. It seems to always pop up on my Facebook feed. I got this thing here called a fidget widget. It's basically this little cube thing with like a whole bunch of different like buttons and switches and stuff like that all over it. I got it just to see what it's like, but I think it was pretty much just a waste, and it cost me 10 bucks too, so that's pretty much just $10 down the drain. Now, I've seen lots of these weird things that people have been playing around with a lot lately, especially those stupid fidget spinner things that kids are just crazy about these days, but I really just don't seem to see the appeal with these things. Pretty much just a flash in the pan, if I might say so myself. But moving on to hopefully more interesting things, I got a whole bunch of stuff here, including some DVDs, a bunch of video games, and a bunch of toys as well. I suppose I'm going to start out with the toys. The toys, I got them from a whole bunch of different places. I got one off of eBay, a couple of different stores locally, including some thrift store finds. So I suppose I'll start with the eBay find first. So on eBay, I found this one toy being sold by a seller from Hong Kong, so it's probably not legit, but I don't really care because at least it looks pretty decent and it looks exactly as I would expect this toy to look. It is a toy from a old TV show that I used to watch as a kid. The show is Reboot, and this was one of the big baddies on the show. It is Megabyte, and it came with his weird staff thing as well. Pretty decent figure. It's got a lot of points of articulation on it, but for whatever reason his arms don't bend at the elbows at all. They only sort of rotate vaguely at the shoulder, this way, and front and back. So it doesn't really have a lot of motion there, but at least it's still a pretty decent representation of the character, and it'll go well with my other Reboot figures, so very happy to get that. And it was only $6 with shipping, so pretty decent deal even if it is fake, which I'm almost certain it is. Moving on from there, at a Value Village, I got a bag of random stuff that also included some pieces of some Digimon toys, which will be in another video, but the only other item that was in this bag that I got for $3 was this toy of Dark Magician from Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, he's supposed to have his staff or scepter or whatever it was with him as well, and he has this action feature where you press a button on his back and he lifts up his arm, but without that staff it just looks kind of stupid, so kind of sucks, but at least it's still a decent looking figure as is. Next up, I went to this local toy store called Toys Toys Toys. They have a couple of locations in a couple of different malls. Really liked going there when I was younger. They had a lot of Transformers there, and that's pretty much all I used to buy there and all that I still buy there, on occasion at least. They do have other things that somewhat interest me, like Pokemon cards, and up until recently they still had some leftover Digimon toys from Digimon Cross Wars, if I remember correctly. Basically the last Digimon series that most people should just forget about. But I did see these Transformers that were somewhat interesting. They are from the Combiner Wars series. This one here, I've honestly already forgot his name and I threw out the box, so I really don't know what his name is. But that's him, this little sort of blue semi with a gun on the front of it. But other than that, the other figure that I got was a lot more interesting, to me at least. It is a figure of Shockwave, and it's actually a pretty decent representation of him as well. His head is as you would expect it to be, and sorry that I can't really get a good view of him. And overall, it's a pretty nice figure, and he even transforms into a gun that can be used by other larger figures, so that was a really nice sort of nod to his classic design as a gun, because originally the toy that Shockwave is based off of was basically just a giant gun. So it's nice to see him continuing to be a sort of gun slash blaster. Moving on from there, I got some toys from Buy and Sell Kings. Every so often I do find some interesting toys there for decent prices. I got this one Mega Man figure. I forget which character this is exactly, but it's this little mini figure. I have a couple of these from different Mega Man characters, and that was just $2. And as for the other item that I got from them, it is a Beast Machines, if I remember correctly, Transformer. It is Cheetor. I think this is supposed to be the deluxe class figure, but I'm not too certain about that. And I'm honestly not even certain how he is actually supposed to look, because it's been quite some time since I watched the show, and not too certain what direction his legs are supposed to go in. But it is still a pretty nice figure. It does suck that he is missing his tail, so he doesn't have his main weapon, but otherwise the figure is in really good shape, and that was only $5. Next up is the one and only DVD that I got. It's actually a DVD box set of one of my favorite shows, and definitely one of my favorite shows growing up. It is the 6th season, so the second last season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I do like this version of it here. I suppose this form factor of the case. There are other box sets of Buffy that are in much larger boxes, but this one here in the sort of standard DVD size case is definitely the version that I wanted to get. And season 6 is, I suppose, when I sort of stopped watching the show regularly when I was younger. Pretty much at that time I sort of just dropped off from watching Buffy altogether, and then just started watching it again right as the show stopped airing. So I should probably get back to this season. Never actually finished this season, and haven't finished all of season 7 either. Now moving on to the games that I got. First up is Rig Racer 2 for the Wii. It's just a sort of shovelware game. It only cost me $1.79 plus tax, and I think a couple things that drew me to this game. Firstly, it was made by Data Design Interactive, which also made Billy the Wizard, which is terrible game that nobody should ever play. The other thing is the name of this game, Rig Racer 2, which is vaguely reminiscent of Ridge Racer. So maybe they were trying to go off of something like that. Like, I get that they're racing like big rigs, so the name makes sense, but it also sounds like it's just trying to get sort of idea of it being something like Ridge Racer. But for under $2, still a game worth, at least in my mind, picking up to see how terrible it might actually be. But to move on to some better games, and actually some pretty awesome games, I got this Vita game that I've been planning on getting for quite some time now. It is World of Final Fantasy. I got the Vita version since it is a sort of Vita game that has been ported to the PS4 as well. I wanted to get the Vita version since that's probably the system that's going to look and play best on, and I did get the used copy for $22.49 plus tax. I did not want to pay the full asking price for this when it was brand new. I think it was either $49.99 or $59.99, some ridiculous price, at least in Canada. So definitely used for $22, a much better deal in my opinion for what it is, because pretty much World of Final Fantasy is played somewhat like a sort of more Pokemon experience. The next game that I got because it is a game in a series that I do enjoy. It is a first-party Nintendo game that rarely drop in price. This here is the Nintendo Selects version of this game as well, which is priced at $29.99 in Canada, but in the US it is priced at $19.99. So I was very happy when I saw this go on sale for just $19.99. It is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and for $20 brand new, that was definitely a very good deal. Very happy to finally be able to play this game, because I have not played this game whatsoever, and I'm very happy to finally get the opportunity to do so. Now, the last game that I got here, a game that I probably spent the most on, I think I probably spent Yep, as much money as I spent between these two games alone, I spent on this game here. It's a game I've been looking for quite some time. I've thought about buying it off of eBay on a couple of separate occasions, and probably should have waited out on it because this is a sort of Frankenstein copy of this game. It is the European box and case and manual for this game, but the discs are the Japanese version of the game. It is a copy of Shenmue 2. Now, I did pay a decent amount for this game, even though it is a sort of Frankenstein copy, but still I wanted to have a copy of this game for my collection, as I am trying to get a lot of the sort of bigger releases for the Dreamcast, and there are still a handful of games that I'm really looking for in the Dreamcast, like Power Stone 2. Power Stone 2, I'm still looking for that, but I haven't been able to find a decent enough deal for it. But that's it. As always, leave comments in the comment section below. Anything you'd like to say, comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, anything at all, just put it in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Check out my Facebook, Twitter, and website. They're all linked in the description below. And also linked in the description below is a link to my 500 subscribers contest. Check that out as well if you'd like. And that's it. See ya.